The thin layer chromatography, or TLC, can help us in figuring out several pieces of information from our experiment. Let's say that you have an experiment where you have compound A and compound B. You mix them together, you put them together in a reaction pot, and you see what is the reaction that goes on when you mix them together. Let's say that on a TLC plate, I spot my compound A, which is pure compound A, my compound B, which is pure compound B, or authentic, as we say in other words. And I also spot a little bit from my sample from the reaction mixture. So what is there is I have my reaction pot with A and B together, and I put my capillary tube and dip it just a little bit so I can collect a little bit of sample on my or in my capillary tube. When I will spot my authentic A and I have authentic B, and then I have a reaction mixture, and I develop this TLC plate in the TLC chamber. After a certain time, I see that there is a little bit of dry space left here. I take out my TLC plate and I mark the solvent front with pencil, so I know where my solvent front is. When I look under the UV light, I see all of these spots. What do these spots indicate? It indicates that compound A rose in its own lane and ended up here. Compound B rose in its own lane and ended up here. Whereas the reaction mixture has these two spots. Now, if you look at the lane of spot A, how many spots do you see? Only one. What do you conclude by that? Is this mixture, or is this sample that you have spotted on A, is it pure or is it impure? Because we have only one spot, we can certainly say there is only one number of spot, hence this sample is pure. On the other hand, when you look at R, we see two spots in this lane. Is our sample, the sample R, pure or impure? Because you have more than one spot, sample R is impure. Looking back at this very TLC plate, the distance that the spots have moved from the line of origin up here are very similar RF value. Or in other words, as we say, the scientific way to say is, because the spots have same RF value, they are identical. So on this very plate, these two spots, the first spot of sample R and the only spot of sample A, are indicative that both of these are the same compounds. They have identified them as the same compounds. On the other hand, the second spot of sample A, R, and the only spot of sample B have similar RFs as well. And hence the second spot of R is compound B. So your TLC can help you figure out your identity and the purity.